In this video, we're going to download and install SQL Server 2022. Hello, I'm Philip Burton of idodata.com. So SQL Server, despite its name, you can download it on your computer. You do not require a server. So any modern desktop or laptop, Windows machine will do. If you have got a Macintosh, then you'll need to be able to use Windows. So either using parallel desktop or dual booting will be the easiest way. If you've got a Linux machine, then SQL Server 2022 is not yet available for Linux. Now, it is currently the preview version. So I would only download this on a computer where you don't mind if the program is not necessarily 100% stable. It will be pretty good, but don't put any actual work on this computer, things you can't afford to lose. So this is more for experimentation at this stage. If you need to download and install a stable version, then keep with SQL Server 2019. So you can see here, I've just Googled SQL Server download, and it's giving me SQL Server 2019, 17, 16, and the preview edition for 2022. Now, if I click on SQL Server downloads, as opposed to this preview, it gets me to this download page. This is where you can download SQL Server 2019 currently, and by the time you're watching this, you might be able to download SQL Server 2022 here. But at the moment, you can see it is not yet fully available to everybody. It says now in private preview. That's not actually correct. If I click on Learn More, you can see that it is now in public preview. So it's the next version along. So I'm going to click Try Now, and that gets me through to this page. And incidentally, if I had clicked SQL Server 2022 preview, it will get me to this page a little bit more quickly. So what I need to do is register for my free trial. So I can see I need name, email, company name, region, company size, role, and phone number. So I'm going to fill those in now and press download now. So I've done that, and you can see I can download SQL Server. Now it is a 64-bit edition. So what does that mean? Well, it means you need a 64-bit computer. However, the good news is that's most modern computers. If you go to your File Explorer and you go to Computer or this PC and right and click and go to Properties, you will see whether it is a 64-bit or a 32-bit. So you can see here a 64-bit operating system. 64-bit operating systems allow you to use more than 3.5 gigabytes of RAM. So that's why they are the operating system nowadays for Windows. So I'm going to now download it. So I'll just click on this 64-bit edition. And here you can see a very small download. Now this is what's called the Bootstrap. It's just a program that will allow you to have additional programs. So I'll click this. And a dialog box comes on saying, do you want to allow this app to make changes to your device? So do you want to give it administrative rights? So I'm going to say yes. And here you can see the evaluation edition. So what does that mean? It's the full software, but it's only for 180 days. So if you have a look in the background, you can see register, then download and install the full featured software for a 180-day trial. So 6 months. Now you can just click on the basic installation. This will install SQL Server with the default configuration, or you can do the custom. Now the question is, what do you want to do? If you want to just do t-sql, so that's the select statements, if you want to do some database administration, then the basic edition is going to be fine for your needs. If you want to use SSIS, integration services, SSRS, SQL Server reporting services, or SSAS, SQL Server Analysis Services, then I would use the custom version. So I'm going to just click on Basic and we can see how easy it is to install. So we've got a software license. So please have a read of it and click Accept. Say where you want it to be installed and click Install. It is now downloading a install package, which isn't that big. It's then going to be running the rules, and now it's getting the setup files, and here you can see that is big, 1.2 2 gigabytes. Now, another thing about the 64-bit edition, the requirements, it will run on your computer, but your computer needs to be a Windows 10 or Windows 11 computer. It may work with a Windows 8 computer. I do not believe that Microsoft have actually released the minimum requirements, but I would be surprised if SQL Server 2022 supports Windows 8, given how long Windows 10 has been out for. Now, if you don't have the requirements, if you've got a 32-bit computer, if you've got Windows 7, then you should download SQL Server 2014. And I've got another YouTube video for how to do that. The link to that video is attached at the top of this video, so you should be able to see SQL Server 2014 and be able to download it. Now, this is the evaluation edition, and that's the only one that at the time of recording Microsoft has released. When it releases the full version of SQL Server 2022, then there will be the enterprise version. So that's the huge paid for version that costs quite a lot of money. There's the standard version, still costs thousands of dollars. And then there is the express version, which is free for you to use, but is cut down, and the developer edition. The developer edition is the same as the enterprise edition, but it's free and you can't use it except for learning purposes. So it's for you to install on your own computer. You can't use it for business purposes. Right, you can see that the download has been successful and now it's going to start installing. And again, this is something that the computer will do by itself. I don't need to click any buttons. It really is a very straightforward download and install. Now, this is SQL Server 2022. So the previous version was 2019. Before that, there was 2017, 2016, 2014, 2012. And you'd think the next one before that was 2010. No, it was 2008 R2, release 2. And then 2008, 2005, and 2000. So the SQL Server has been going for a very long time. They generally release a new one every 2 or 3 years. So they've had a private preview edition, what other people would call a beta or beta edition. Now it's a public preview edition, and then it will be the RTM, the release to manufactured edition. In other words, the version that Microsoft sells. So you can see that installation has successfully completed, and a computer restart is required to complete your installation. Now, before I do that, there is this install SSMS. So SQL Server Management Studio is your front end. SQL Server that we've just installed, this is the back engine. This is the one that does all the calculations. However, you need a user interface. And so SSMS is that. So you can see it's a very simple download. So you can either download the latest stable version. As you can see, currently it's version 18 point something, and that something keeps changing. But as we are downloading a preview version of SQL Server, I'm going to download the preview version of SSMS. So I'm going to click on it and then click download. So here you can see it's downloading. It will just take a few minutes, 611 megabytes. Now, before I actually install it, I am going to reboot the computer, so there's only one installation happening at a time. So I'll just pause the video and let it download. Right, so now it's downloaded. I'll just close that, and I'm going to now click on close, click exit, and I'm going to do a restart. So I've rebooted the computer, and here you can see the downloads where my SSMS, SQL Server Management Studio, has downloaded into. So I will double click on it, and then a dialog box comes up saying, do you want to allow this app to make changes to your device? So in other words, are you going to give it administrative rights? So then you just need to say, okay, where is it going to be saved to? And click install. So it's a very straightforward install. It's just going to download any packages that it needs and install them. Now, SQL Server Management Studio is the front end. Now, it's not the only front end to SQL Server you could have. It's also going to install Azure Data Studio, which is more specifically for writing t-sql statements, the select statement. However, you can do that in SQL Server Management Studio as well. Now, this is version 19, and the current stable version at the time of recording is version 18. You can have version 18 and version 19 on your computer at the same time. So you do not have to uninstall version 18 to install version 19. Now, I'm downloading a preview version. If I wanted to download preview 3 and install it, then I would need to uninstall version 19 preview 2 first before installing version 3. So you can't install a preview version on top of a preview version. My recommendation is that if you've got a preview version and you want to download another version, whether it's a preview version or the full version, then you uninstall the preview version first in any case. Right, so you can see that my SSMS installation has just about finished. And there we go. So I'm going to click on close. And then in my start menu, I'm going to search for SQL Server Management Studio. So here you can see version 19. So I'll click on it. And what you need to do is tell the computer where your version of SQL Server is. Now, you may have a default here. Now, if you don't, and you've only installed this current version of SQL Server on your computer, then you can use the server name dot or one word localhost. Alternatively, you can click on the drop down and go to Browse for More and go into the data engine, and we can see here my 2019 version and my 2022 version. Make sure the server type is Database Engine and authentication is Windows Authentication. These will be the defaults in any case. So let's click on Connect. So we can see on the left hand side the Object Explorer, and at the top you've got databases. So we don't have any of our own databases, so apart from the system databases, so we need to install our own version. So I'm going to right and click on databases and go to New Database. And I'm going to call this my new 2022 database. And if you were to scroll to the right, you can see where all of your data is going to be stored where on your computer. So click OK, and there we have your first database. And then, well, I need some tables. You store your data inside tables which are stored inside a database. So I'm going to go to Tables, right and click and go to New and Table. So this is where you select your column names and your data type. So I'm going to say my text column, and here we've got nchar. So that is a text. Also, text is varchar. This is more usual. Now, the number in brackets is the number of characters you can use. So I'm going to say a varchar 50. And then I'm going to have my number column. And I'm going to have a data type that is designed to store numbers. So I'm going to use the int data type, int short for integer. So I'm just going to close this and I want to save the changes. So I'm going to call this my first table. Now, if I expand tables, you might be concerned if my first table is not there. If it is not there, then click on tables and then click on the refresh. So make sure you click on tables first. So I'm going to add some data to it. I'm going to right and click on my first table and edit the top 200 rows. There are currently no rows in there at the moment. So I'm going to have some text and I'm going to press tab to go from one cell to another, and my number is going to be 1. And then I'm going to have more text and number 2. So let's close this down. I don't need to save anything because as soon as you type, it starts to save, and then once you go off a particular row, it will then save it. I don't want to save this row, so I'm just going to press escape. Next, I'm going to retrieve the data that I've just got. So I'm going to right and click and select the top 1000 rows, and you can see at the bottom, here is my data. Now, this is written in a language called t-sql. And if I can help you with t-sql, which is the language used to retrieve data, then I hope you consider looking at some of my Udemy courses. If you've just got an hour to spare, then have a look at my SQL Server Essentials in an hour. So this looks at the 6 principal clauses of the select statement. Select from where, group by, having, and order by. If you've got a bit more time, then have a look at my Database Fundamentals course. So in around 8 hours, we'll have a look not just at the select statement, but insert, update, delete, joining tables together, constraints, view procedures, and much more. And if you've got a lot more time, then please have a look at my Querying Microsoft SQL Server with t-sql course, where in around 29 hours, we'll have a look at inserting, updating, deleting data, union, case, merge, subqueries, CTEs, and much, much more. And there are plenty of quizzes along the way, so you can be sure that you are learning. So in this video, we have installed SQL Server 2022 and SQL Server Management Studio. So that's the back end and the front end. So why not experiment with it? Thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked it, then please click the like icon. And then why not subscribe and click that bell so you can be notified of any new videos. Thank you very much for watching this. Links to all of my courses can be found in the description to this video. Thank you very much for watching this and keep learning.